Alex, it's been a pretty good first week of the season for you, I imagine.
Yeah, I think we've started well. I think the first league game was really pleasing to score 4 goals at home, and then obviously to back that up with a good cup performance and to make quite a few changes as well was nice because it keeps the full squad engaged. Everybody's sort of performing well, and then obviously we've got some big decisions for the weekend now.
What's the mood been like in the camp this week?
Good. It's always good when you're winning games, especially when everybody's contributing because everybody feels within touching distance of the team. The team's functioning well, and obviously it's been a good start for us. And I think the then adulation the players get for the fans helps them, because I think that connection is vitally important and probably something that hasn't really quite been there over the last couple of seasons. And I think this year so far, it looks as if that connection and that bond is sort of really starting to take off. So we wanted to try and keep that going and improve that if we can.
You touched on it just a minute ago, but how important has it been to get minutes in a number of the squad legs as well?
I think when you come off the back of pre-season, you're so used to sharing minutes for everybody, so everybody's at the same level when the season starts. And I think certainly for the first month, you try and keep that going as much as you can because, especially now, the game now is like 100, 110 minutes at times. It's not going to be about the starting 11 anymore, particularly where the game's going. It's going to be more and more about the depth of the squad, make sure everybody's fit, everybody can contribute. And we want to make sure we've got a really tight-knit squad and everybody feels as if they're contributing to the team. So the only way to really do that is to get them on the pitch.
Dwight Gale returned from injury midweek against West Brom. How pleased were you to get him back out on the field?
Yeah, it's been difficult for Dwight because I think he picked up a calf strain literally the day before we started pre-season. So he missed the bulk of the work. And then we started to sort of gradually introduce him to more and more football. But obviously, because he's missed that running, he's had to top himself up and do it on his own, which is not great. And then obviously that game gave us an opportunity to get him on the pitch, get him some minutes, and he had a good impact in the game. So yeah, good for him, good for us, and obviously it's been a good start.
So Ipswich Town next up tomorrow. What sort of game are you expecting from them?
Tough. I think going to a team, having sampled that myself, when you bring a team up, that momentum, that confidence, that belief, that togetherness, and obviously their fans will be backing them because of how successful and how good they were last season. So it's going to be a tough environment to go down to. It's going to be a really interesting game because they're a good side and they're a good squad. They started really well last week against Sunderland. So yeah, it's going to be a tough game, but we're confident we can go down there and put a good performance in.
Like ourselves, we've had a very similar start to the season with 2 wins as well. It just makes it all the more challenging.
Yeah, I think it's more the fact that it's our first home league game, having came up. I think that it's difficult to actually put your finger on what makes it so special when you do that. It's just that there's such a togetherness with the team and that momentum takes you a long way, particularly in the first month. So we need to make sure that we put a dent in that really, and that we try and obviously sort of wrestle the game in our favour and make sure that we sort of quieten the crowd and we show them that the Championship's obviously a lot more difficult than what League One is.
Back to ourselves, how are we looking on the injury front?
Yeah, I think we're pretty much where we've been. I don't think there's much significant change, so we're hopeful that most of the lads should be fine.
And just finally, a word on Jacob Brown, who obviously left the club yesterday. How important has he been for you since you've been at the club?
Yeah, I think Jacob, for Stoke in general, let's talk about just his entire time here, has been somebody who most managers that have been here, certainly Michael and myself, have relied upon because you know what you're going to get from him. He's a great lad on and off the pitch. He covers every bit of glass, and he's in terms of in and about the group, he's been excellent. But I do think there's always a time and there's always a price for every player where it's probably the benefit for both parties that they move on. Luton came calling and Jacob wanted to test himself at Premier League level, and I'd always work on the basis that if players do want to leave and go and sort of sample something else, then providing we get what we deem necessary to make it work, then I think it's the best for both parties. So he leaves with our best wishes. He's done great for us while he was here, and I'm sure he'll do great for Luton.